Hi, I'm Ashley Callingbull,
And I'm Ashley's dad, Joel.
and we're talking Scheetz.
I'm calling this episode, no disrespect, Joel, the Beauties and the Beasts event.
No disrespect. I'm good.
Even when we got nothing to talk about, there's nowhere I'd rather be. 'Cause there's something about you and me just sitting around talking Scheetz.
Talking Scheetz. Here we are in the storage room, and we are pumped to have our guests here with us today. We've got Ashley Callingbull. She's a Canadian actor, check. A model, check. A public speaker, and the current Miss Universe Canada.
Ashley, is there anything else you want to add to that? Because I don't know if that's impressive enough.
Wow. I do in-game hosting. I host different concert events, country music awards. I'm going to be an author this year. I'm also the first Indigenous woman to become a Sports Illustrated model. So it's a lot of things that I'm proud of. But another thing I'm really proud to be his daughter.
Here's the deal. We've got a super model here, and we've got a super dad here.
Yeah.
How does that sound, Joel?
I've never been called super before, but yeah, I'm proud to be your dad. Yeah.
You know,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
I think this is really cool. This is our first dad-daughter moment. And I think that that's kind of a vision that you had for this show a lot of the time. And it's nice to see it here with such amazing guests to start.
Yeah, not every time, but I love it. And Joel, you'll relate to this, especially with your daughter. I said, no matter what happens with this podcast, I get a chance to spend a little bit of one-on-one time with my daughter. In this case, you get to spend one-on-one, two-on-two time, but you get to hang out here with. So there's nothing for you to lose here, is there?
No, it's good.
Yeah.
I'm always into new things, and Ashley kind of brings me in to those kind of things, so it's all good.
And it's hard to track her down. So she's home and you get to spend time with her. So that's a
Exactly,
plus.
Yeah. So half the time we don't know what she's doing, so I'm glad to be part of this.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, you've had a very exciting week as I followed on Instagram, Ashley. It looks like you skydived in Arizona.
Yeah.
And now the same week you're here in our basement for Talking Scheetz, which has been more thrilling for you.
Well, so far this. It's always thrilling being with you guys. You know, that I had no feeling whatsoever, just jumped. No, I'm just kidding. No, that was actually terrifying.
And,
but
yeah, and the difference with this time is nobody's strapped to you.
no.
No, you're flying solo
Yeah,
tonight.
flying
Although maybe
so-
you're kind of, maybe.
Hey, I'm
In
got
a
a
way,
good
in a
distance
way.
here. Still supporting me regardless.
Yes, keeping her safe.
What was that like?
That was honestly, I just booked it randomly. I was sitting on the couch at my parents' house talking to them, and I said, "What would you guys think if I just randomly sent you a picture, called you, and said I'm jumping out of a plane today?" My dad said that's crazy, and my mom said, "I wouldn't be surprised because I'm pretty spontaneous."
Yeah.
And that was the day I just sent him a picture afterward and was like, "Look what I did."
Yeah, Dad was shaking his head at the time, and yeah.
We had no idea, not even a clue.
Yeah, why would you ever jump out of a perfectly running airplane?
Exactly.
Doesn't make-
Yeah, you just fly from one place to another and stay in there and be comfortable.
I just fly so much I wanted to know what it felt like to jump out of one,
Yeah,
You're prepared just in case.
Yeah, now I know. But after I did that, when I was flying home back to Alberta, I was thinking, I can't believe I jumped out of an airplane.
Yeah.
I'm mental.
when you were flying, you
Yeah.
thought of that, right?
Yeah, I was
All
just thinking, this is crazy. But it was honestly I just got past that fear and I thought, wow, what else can I do? I feel so badass.
right. That's perfect.
Yeah.
It's a big week.
Uh-huh. Well, I want to start with our relationship. I worked for the Edmonton Football Club. They were the Eskimos, now the Elks, for 16 years. And then one day in off season, they said, "Hey, Chris, would you like a co-host?" And I said, "You know what? I'm lazy. I'd like somebody else to help split the job for sure." They said, "Okay, it's going to be Ashley Callingbull." And I'm like, "Ashley Callingbull, like Ashley Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition Callingbull?" And they said, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay, but I'll be honest with you. I was thinking this is going to be like Diva Central, And I went to the first meeting, and in 30 seconds, I'm like, okay, this is not a diva at all. And Dad would agree with that, right?
Oh, yeah.
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 And it was such a fun year. And I thought I'd need to help you because you'd never done that kind of thing before. And yeah, it was like the first time you did it. I'm like, okay, well, I can take this year off.
It was the best ever. Like, I still learned a lot from you, though.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about being in that space, and you made me feel comfortable being there, and that was really important to me. And, you really paved the way for me. But
Yeah.
it was so much fun working with you. And then it was sad when you said that was the last time. And I'm like, we just started.
Yeah.
I was like, why would you say something like that? You're like, I'm helping you, but I'm also leaving.
Yeah, but you know what? And the team didn't do that good. And poor Ashley, we kept thinking that they were going to win. This was the game they were going to win. You came to a few of the games. You know what I'm
Yes.
talking about,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah. We were just waiting for them to win and like praying and hoping.
But you guys did great. You did an amazing job on the field.
We showed up.
You won.
I'm like, we did our
One of the
job.
most interesting things was, and no disrespect to the football players, some of them I became friends with over the years. But when I was on the sidelines getting ready to do my job before the game started, it was like nobody come near me. But as soon as Ashley was there, it was like all these football players are wandering by. And I'm like, are you kidding me, guys? I've been here for 16 years.
They didn't even notice you.
Didn't even notice me.
They were just always commenting on my shoes because
Yeah.
I made sure to wear different sneakers for every game. I made sure my sneaker game was on point. So they're
Yeah.
always like, "Oh, nice kicks,
Yeah.
sweet shoes."
Yeah, well, I was wearing my Walmart shoes, so maybe that was the
That's
problem.
what it was.
The only difference between you two was your footwear for sure.
Exactly. He's probably wearing Velcro shoes, and I'm wearing like these sweet kicks. That's exactly what it was.
But that started you doing some other sports stuff, right? You really enjoy.
Oh yeah, and then I got to host for the Oilers, got to host for the Canucks, for the Saskatchewan Rush, for lacrosse. So I got to be in like how many different spaces, and it's been pretty cool. Like I love that like thrilling feeling and the environment. It's the environment that just gets me all amped up.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's talk about growing up, and literally, you guys grew up a mile from where we're at. Like, how long did it take you to get here today from Dad's house?
Like not even 5 minutes, and there's a blizzard right now.
Yeah.
So imagine if there was no blizzard, probably like
Could've-
2.5 minutes.
You could have walked. You
Yeah.
could have
Sure.
walked.
Could have walked over here. Yeah.
How long have you lived in Enoch, at Enoch Cree Nation?
Pretty well most of my life. Yeah. We lived a couple years just growing up in high school in the city. And then after that, we just moved back to Enoch. So most of my life.
And that's home.
Yeah.
That's home, and it'll always be home.
Oh, it'll always be home. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So, Ashley, how long have you lived your whole life? Same thing in Enoch, right?
Yeah, pretty much in Enoch, except for when I like lived abroad or lived on my own. Those were years that I've just traveled, but I've always come back home. Like this is a place that I can always come back to, so it's good that I have it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
When reading up on you, I mean, we've met before, and I'm a big fan of you, but it was interesting to go back and kind of learn a little bit more about your history, especially in pageants. And what it says on Wikipedia, I know that's not always true, is that you started pageants in Enoch and you won all of the childhood pageants. And so you were like, well, I guess I have to go on a bigger stage. I didn't realize there was such a pageant circuit.
Yeah, there's pageants in all different spaces, but the pageant in my reserve, it was completely different. It's not like toddlers and tiaras or anything like that. It's really cultural. So it's at a powwow, you dance in your regalia, you speak like your language, you do stuff for your community, and you represent your community. So that's what it was really about, is like culture, like who is the best representative of our culture. So when I won, I think I was 6 years old when I won Tiny Tot, and then the next year I was 7 competing for junior, and you could be from 7 to 13. And then once I won junior, next year I was 8 years old. I thought, well, I want to compete senior, and they're like, you're not old enough. I was like, well, why not? Let me just try. And then I won. I had a dance off with like a 14-year-old girl, and I won. And then I won them all by the time I was 8 years old. And I think that drive in me was always there to like want to be on stage and perform and do something with pageantry.
Yeah, that's really cool that it has those cultural elements. Because when you think about pageants, again, Toddlers and Tiaras has kind of taught people maybe that it's just going on stage and looking pretty, but it sounds like to you it was a lot more, and you learned a lot through that in your childhood.
And I didn't have to change myself. That was what was good about it, and that's what I also took with me when I did like pageants in general when I was a miss. So I always thought like, don't change yourself for nobody, and make sure I bring my culture with me, feel strong while I'm there, and that thing really kept me grounded for sure.
Enoch's Honey Boo Boo.
Yeah. Ew. Don't ever call me that. Don't be like hashtag honey boo boo.
And talking about, again, growing up and in your pageant life, you come from a long line of pageant queens too, right? Your mom did.
My mom. So
Yeah.
I actually got my mom into pageants.
Oh, so you started.
I started, and she's always wanted to do them, but she never had the time, being like a mom for us and, really living for us. So the year that she wanted to do it, I said, well, I'm like a pageant vet. I'll coach you. I'll help you. And then she ended up winning and becoming the first Native woman to win Mrs. North America Globe Classic. So, yeah, there's a lot of little history makers in the household, hey?
Yeah. So this is the first husband here.
I guess, yeah.
So what's it like with these ladies in all of this glitz and glamour? But again, you do make it very clear that there's a very serious part about this as well. But what's it like? I mean, I can't even imagine what the bathroom would be like with all the makeup.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of makeup, lots of like garments and stuff, and like I've had to like rush off and grab stuff that I would never thought I would go and get, such as like stockings and different things from places just for pageants.
These
right?
aren't for me, honestly.
No, not for me.
You're the
It's all
pageant
them.
assistant. You're the unpaid assistant when it comes to
Basically, yeah.
There's lots of pageant moms. They talk about pageant moms and Honey Boo Boo, but you're a pageant dad.
Yeah, I think I am.
The stage manager. and he's like the most patient guy in the world because he has to put up with, me and my sisters and my mom. That's a lot of feminine energy in one room.
It is. It's strong women, right? It's just gotta like support and be there, and yeah, I
That
just
was
try
a
to do my
good,
best.
safe answer. You're like, yeah, strong women.
Well, it's true. It's true.
He's exuding a lot of girl dad energy
Yeah.
for sure,
Yeah,
which is great energy.
He's
to
got
have.
that. He's got
Yeah.
that.
Do you
Yeah.
at least have a male dog?
A male dog?
Yeah.
I don't have a male dog, but her sister does.
Okay, so there's
Yeah.
one other
So
guy.
there's, yeah, we're kind of alone in the house with the rest. Yeah. I talk to him once in a while about it, but just kidding. No, I don't.
You know what? How long has he been in your life? You said you found him.
Yeah. How long, Dad? What I was like,
Since you're 10?
yeah.
Yeah.
For a long time. So, like, 50. Wow. It's a long time. I'm 35 now. So I don't wanna count
15
anymore.
years. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but
I'm just kidding.
it just goes
yeah.
by in a flash, right? Like,
Yeah, like him and my mom were dating, and I just loved him. And I actually was really scared to ask him to be my dad, so I made like a Christmas card, and I wrote in there like how much I loved him, and then I wrote at the bottom like, "Will you be my dad?" And when he was opening it, I got so scared because I was thinking like, he's gonna think I'm crazy, and he's gonna say no. Like, what kind of guy would say yes to this little girl asking like her dad, like her mom's boyfriend, can you be my dad? But he's always like what I imagined a dad would be. And then he opened it, found me downstairs, and told me how much he loved me. And he said, yeah, he'd love to be my dad. And I've been calling him Dad since.
yes.
Yeah, and that's how it's done.
Okay, we can end the podcast.
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
so beautiful. I can't cry. I can't cry in front of a supermodel.
And Joel asked, "I don't know why I'm here." That's why you're here.
Yeah.
Like that's an absolutely incredible. So you're growing up in Enoch. You're growing up on the reserve, and not every day is an easy day, right? Like not every day was an easy day. No, but boy, oh boy, people like that come into your life and just make things so much better. And look where we are now.
Yeah, my dad's just always been supportive of everything I've ever done. Whatever I've wanted to chase, he's always been there and always had my back. And then to even like do the Amazing Race with him, like
We're
that,
gonna
that
get to
is
that.
like
Yes.
another level of seeing each other at different highs and lows, things that like no one will ever see or be able to experience or understand but us.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we will talk about that. You graduated at 16 years old.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I skipped 2 grades. I skipped grade 4 to 6, and
I didn't know
was
that
just-
was possible. I would have done that. I skipped about
I
6
didn't know it was
grades.
possible too until they said they were like, you're advanced, so they just skipped me 2 grades, and I was just super nerdy. Like, my dad remembers how nerdy I was. I tried to get rid of all those photos, but I was like,
the glasses and
the braces and the
Braces.
tight ponytails every day. I was like the science geek, like girl, so no one wanted to be friends with me. I was kind of like a loner, but at least I had my dad.
So, yeah, can you give us a nerdy example here? Like, when you remember this little, I mean, you wouldn't have thought she was nerdy. I mean, dads don't think their kids
No,
are nerdy.
no, we
but,
don't see.
but you thought she's applying herself. That's a good thing, right?
I just thought she was just full of energy and like goofy and funny and and just like outgoing, which was good. Like she was always dancing or singing and like doing random things.
Very theatrical.
But yeah, it was definitely a good thing.
So you said you were nerdy growing up, but then you were also crushing pageants. But how does that kind of...
Well, that whole crushing the pageants when I was 8 years old, when I did that, I didn't get nerdy till I was about like 9.
Okay.
That's when it hit me real hard.
So you had your moment. You thought you might have peaked at 8.
I peaked at 8, and then I had my ugly duckling face for a long time.
I've heard of the nerdy 9s.
Yeah, right when
Some of us never get out of them.
Right when my teeth all like my adult teeth came in, and I needed
It takes
the
a while
braces.
to grow into your teeth sometimes,
Oh my
doesn't it?
God, I looked like a shark. I had like 2 rows of teeth. Like no one, I just got made fun of so much. But yeah, I went through a really awkward phase, and then I just never would have imagined like doing Miss Universe later on in life. So it's just kind of makes me laugh.
Yeah.
What do you think 9-year-old Ashley would say if you kind of visited her like a Christmas Story and showed her your Sports Illustrated cover?
I think about that sometimes, like some of the things I've accomplished or some of the things I do, and I think, what would like little Ashley think? And she'd probably just be like, "No way! Like no way in hell you did that! Like not even. That's crazy."
I think that peaking, if you don't want to peak in your teens though, you
No.
know, you want to be that nerdy kid that kind of flies under the radar, gets your work done,
It
and then
humbles you.
yeah.
It humbles you.
I think that's the reason why you're not the diva that he thought you might be.
That's true. That's true. If you wouldn't have gone through that nerdy stage, I would have had to deal with you at that football field. I'd have been like, why does she only get an umbrella? I don't get it.
It's just like that inner geek just like stays forever. But that's like my personality. So
Okay, so
keeps
you're-
it fun. Keeps
yeah.
it fun, right?
Yeah. So you're doing theater. You're doing the pageant thing. You're applying yourself in school, and then we all get to that stage. Bailey mentioned it, I think maybe on the first podcast, that we make these decisions about career choices when we're way too young to make career choice decisions. We also make decisions about who we're going to marry when we're way too young too, but that's another story. It's like those things you should probably be 50 years old to be qualified to make those decisions, although I'm 54 and I'm still not qualified.
And you're still married.
Yeah,
We should clarify that.
Yeah, no, 100%. And extremely happily married. But where's your mind going when you're thinking about what you're going to do?
When I was
16 when you graduated.
I had no idea who I was going to be or what I was going to do. I just thought like I had to push myself regardless of what it was. And when I went to school for like film and television, I really liked that. I think I finally like found my people and like learning to thrive in that environment, and just being in all these different environments where it was like energy from different people and giving that back too. I really enjoyed it, but it always changed. I felt like there's how many different points in my life where I've had to start over. Like I've never had one complete like career from, by the time I graduated high school to now that's been the same. Like I'm always evolving and always changing and always trying something different, and I'm always stepping into different spaces. So I feel like a lot of times in my life I'm starting over, and I move a lot too. So I never know, like even now, I have no idea what's going to happen next year. Like I'm literally riding the wave, and there's just opportunities that come to me. And when those opportunities come, I try to make more out of it. So I try to make the most of everything, and I'm like living, day by day almost.
You are. Nate, was that Nate part of your life?
Yeah.
Because the reason I bring that up is because Nate, you, and Nate, you.
Yeah.
And I actually taught 1 year of the broadcasting course at Nate. So, but I mean, you got this serious
The
connection.
ooks, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, that's kind of where it starts too, and you start to see some of the possibilities, that are maybe going to happen in your life. I mean, the same as Bailey, she didn't end up on radio or television, but it just allowed her to, well, thankfully, be able to produce this incredible podcast, for example. But you never know where those skills are going to be applied, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I was doing like broadcasting, and I didn't end up on doing broadcasting. I thought I was going to be a weather girl there for a hot minute.
Yeah.
I thought that's what I was going to be doing, but it's like now I'm doing all these different kinds of things, but I learned a lot of skills from Nate. Like there's a lot of, I've learned that I can apply it in different parts of my life too. So, and it's crazy that my dad went there. We even went to the same high school. We were just always meant to be connected, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
We talk about your experience at Nate.
Nate, I went to Nate quite a few years. Like I started out of high school, I went and took petroleum engineering technology, and I did that for 2 years, and went and worked for oil company for almost 10 years. And then after that, I thought I'm going to try something different. So thought I'd become a mechanic. So I went to Nate, did an apprenticeship, and did all that stuff, and that was it. You know, two experiences at Nate. I just can't. You know, it's a great school. I just recommend it to like all the kids that I teach in that. I said it's very, very good place. Like practical, technical. Like it's really good. Like I had a great experience there.
And that gave me motivation too. Is like, you know, my dad, he had this whole completely different career when I was growing up, where he was working like in the oil field. And then he came back, went to school, and just decided one day, like, I'm just going to completely change
I was thinking that
my
when he said it,
career.
right? Yeah.
And I remember him, he was going to school and like working so hard. And I was thinking like, wow, he's just like starting over. Like that's crazy to me. But like it kind of, like I admire that because I do that too. And it's like, if, you know, my dad can do it, like I can do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. A mentor in so many different ways.
It's never too late to learn or to change or grow, for sure.
Yeah, because after being a technician for good 13 years or so, I had the opportunity to go to university, get my teaching degree, and I went and did that. So kind of like did a bunch of stuff.
We could have a list of your accomplishments as well. That's
Some
amazing.
accomplishments, yeah.
It takes a lot of support from your parents to live a life in which you can kind of go with the flow and learn new things and take on new skills and try new things. Have you always felt like your parents have been there for you and supporting you in your decisions and your path?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I feel like regardless of what I do, they're always super supportive, and they say if anything goes wrong, like, you can always come back home and we'll be here for you. But I think sometimes they don't really know what I'm up to. I'll tell them after the fact because I don't want to stress them out.
It's called begging for forgiveness.
Yeah, so, like, I live kind of a very adventurous lifestyle, but they're like, as long as you're safe and you're happy, you come back home in one piece, we're good.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Whatever she does, I know she'll, do great in. So we just trust her, and if she never needs a place, she just can come home.
Yeah. Just don't skydive, Ashley. Right? That's the one thing that Dad asked.
My mom freaked
Yeah.
out after. She was like, "Are you in one piece? Are you okay, you little thrill seeker?"
Well, she does learn from you because she became a pageant queen after you. So maybe Mom will skydive. You guys can do one. What do they call those? The duo ones. What did you do?
The tandem.
The tandems. The tandem ones.
The tandem.
Let's talk about acting. You started in 2011.
2010. Yeah, I
2010?
started. Yeah, I was filming Blackstone for like almost 5 years. So that took up a lot of my time. I loved it. I mean, I got to film just outside Edmonton. Got to live at home and just go and film every day. It was pretty fun.
And you've got to do pageants, acting, obviously a lot of modeling as well, and speaking. What is different about acting versus like a print photo? Like, you see yourself in that way, but then learning those skills to act is a little bit different.
I feel like they're both a lot of hurry up and wait, like the film and TV world. Acting, I can be on set for 16 hours and you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over. And some people get tired of it, but I love it. Like, I really enjoy it and being in that environment. And I'm like, and when I have time off and I'm sitting there waiting, I'm like, I'm always at crafts. Like, I'm always eating the snacks. I'm like notorious for that. Yeah. But when I'm doing like a modeling thing, I feel like I get those jobs done really fast. I don't want to say that I know how to move and whatnot, but I know myself well enough now that I'm like, I know what movements work for me where I can get the job done. And sometimes I can get that job done within 4 hours. And usually they plan for me to be there the whole day. So it could be completely different. I could have a completely short day and fun, quick, get my videos, photos, and done. But then with acting, it's like, no, I'm gonna be there.
And you're waiting on other people too.
And I'm waiting on other people. I'm waiting for them to change the lighting, the setup, and everything. I got to change into a different outfit now. So it's just a lot of changing. And then with like modeling, it can be so fast. And it's a lot of rush too. Like, we need you here. Oh, the light right now. If you're shooting outside, we got to get it now. So it could be a lot of just running around and frantic. But I like that. I thrive in chaos, I feel like. Just crazy.
My thing, not that no one's ever asked me to be an actor, but remembering lines.
He's still waiting.
Yeah. ChrisScheetz.ca. Memorizing lines, like seriously, like how difficult is that?
But maybe the nerdy 9-year-old is helping her out there.
Seriously, honestly, like I think just from school and reading things over and over and always doing presentations, like I got really good at that, especially from doing science fair projects. I would always have something memorized and I would, say it out loud. So when I started doing acting and memorizing, like that was fine for me. But one way I learned to memorize like different languages for different auditions and whatnot, I walk on the treadmill, so my body is always moving and I'm just reading it over and over. So then when I'm acting it out, my body is naturally moving and it's like
You're
just
not
remember.
stiff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not stiff.
Well, that's what you can take into your future
Yeah.
acting career.
What
I
is
just
it?
need a treadmill, man.
What is it? What is this thing you call a treadmill? Okay, talk about some of your favorite experiences in acting and some of the people that you've had a chance to work with.
I really loved working with like my late uncle Gordon Tatusis. He was amazing. Andrea Menard, Graham Greene is hilarious to work with. There's some people that I've worked with that have just been that make me feel like family. I've had some really good experiences where I got to shoot in Vancouver Island and I got to promote this film that I just promoted this last year called The Great Salish Heist. We promoted it throughout all Canada. It got picked up for the Hollywood Film Festival. I even got to promote it when I was at Cannes Film Festival.
We need to talk about that.
And that was crazy because like I was at the Martin Scorsese
Killers of the Flower Moon.
the world premiere, walking the red carpet. I was just thinking, and they announce your name and everything. And I'm wearing like a Canadian designer gown and I'm walking the red carpet. And I'm like, oh my God, there's Leonardo DiCaprio. There's Robert De Niro. I was like, there's so many faces and all the faces were recognizable. So I just thought like, wow, this is like peak right now.
Yeah. Do you still get starstruck? Because you've had so many amazing experiences. But like when Leonardo DiCaprio was walking by you, are you still like, whoa?
At first, I was like, okay, I was starstruck, but then I thought like he's probably normal human being, and I just want to get my photo.
Yeah,
But,
like, I just gotta look good here.
but like at the after party where it was like a private invite only, you saw all these celebrities just like living their life, and no one had their phones out. No one was harassing them. They were just talking amongst themselves like normal people. Like there was a time at that night where I was standing in a circle of like there was Leonardo DiCaprio, Salma Hayek, Jeff Bezos, what's the guy's name from Step Brothers' dad, the guy with the curly hair,
Will Ferrell?
no, the other guy.
The other guy.
He was in the group too, Kate Blanchett, and we're all just and Martin Scorsese, and we're just having like a casual conversation. And
You're
then
in the circle.
and I was in the circle and I was just like this, oh my God, is this like my life right now? And I was like, it would just be so weird to be like, hey, hold on, group selfie real quick. So it's like you don't do stuff like that. So when I was there, it just felt normal and seeing them as them normal selves. But I'd still freak out if I saw Rihanna.
Oh,
That's like the one person.
That's me too.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Rihanna, I love Riri.
That would be insane.
Yeah.
We get Rihanna in the basement, then that's how you know.
Oh my God, then I'm outside the house,
Yeah.
like banging on the door, super fan, screaming.
Bad girl Riri
Yeah.
comes up.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts from your acting stuff? Like just
Like, I think, honestly, I just learned a lot. And I actually started my acting career in cartoons because I was too shy to be on camera. So, like, that's where my geekiness also came out, too, was that I did a lot of, like, weird voices and stuff. So I started my acting career in cartoons, like, so I can do some weird voices and stuff. You want to hear something?
Yes.
yes, we do.
Well, so we're like big fans of Lord of the Rings.
Right.
So I love Gollum, Schmeagol. So I always like share that with the kids because
Yeah.
I could do like a pretty good impersonation of it.
Yeah.
You never would think looking at me. It's like my sexy voice I bring out. Okay.
All right, here we
Okay,
go.
we got it.
Yep.
My precious. Our master will never steal precious from us. Master cares about us. No, no. Master wants the precious for himself.
Wow, that's really good.
Okay, now, Dad, you got one?
Dad, come on, Dad. Come on.
I don't have anything that can compare to that.
That doesn't mean anything. Can you do any impersonations?
Impersonations?
Yeah.
I can't think of anything.
I mean, I can do Ernie and Bert.
Not really. Not like that.
Not like that.
Not like
I'm just
that.
trying to give him some, like,
I can't even.
Hebert. Ernie. Hebert.
Gosh, Mickey. There's Goofy.
What? Who are you?
There you go.
Is that what you
That's
do
all
in
I
your
got.
spare time?
That's pretty good.
Now we can end the podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you were watching on YouTube right now, you can see a very red face. All right. Well, you know what? You live 5 minutes away from us, as we established. Well, a couple of guys live literally 15 seconds away, and they won Amazing Race a few years ago. I'm talking about Anthony and James are our next door neighbors. We have like serious Amazing Race connections here.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned it. You guys actually, what made you decide? I mean, I can tell because you guys are so close, but it was like a no-brainer who you were going to choose to be your partner, right?
Oh, yeah. Like, we watched the show and we talked about it, like, if we were ever going to do it, like, we would do it together. And then the opportunity came and we're like, okay, let's send in a video of just us talking, just being ourselves, and then
Doing goofy impressions.
yeah,
No.
basically.
On vacation.
We were actually on vacation. We're like, yeah, we're in Mexico right now, training hard for the race. And then somehow we got picked, and we were the first like native team to ever be on the show, and the first father-daughter team to make it to the mat, the final mat. Yeah. It was pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
Couple of things here. First of all, how hard is it to do it, shoot it all, and then keep what happened quiet, like for months at a time, right? I mean, that's one thing that's like very difficult because everybody wants to know how you did.
That was probably the hardest because we had to sign so many non-disclosure agreements where we couldn't even tell my mom. So, but she was the only person that had connection to the production team. They would let them know, like our family members, that we were still alive, but we were never allowed to have communication with the outside world or our family. So it was just me and my dad relying on each other. And there were so many things where we'd go through something crazy and I'd be like, oh, I wish we could tell mom right now, or oh, I wish we could tell her what happened. And as soon as we get home, we're like, we have so many stories, but we can't tell you. You just gotta wait, watch months from now.
Yeah, it was hard too. Yeah, it's to tell people. People would always ask, so did you win? Like, even everywhere, like in person, online, like we couldn't even tell anybody. It was tough, but you got to do it, right?
Yeah. How long does it take to shoot it? Like
It was like 6 weeks.
Yep.
six weeks. You're out of civilization, really, but you aren't, but you are, right?
No,
Like
but you are.
Yeah.
So
You are.
I think that prepared us for like COVID, for quarantine, because
Definitely.
they as soon as you get there, they take away your phone, like your access to the outside world. There's no TV, no radio, no phone, like nothing in your room that you can read. So it's just looking at each
And why
other,
can't
you
you-
know?
Yeah.
Like,
why can't you read things? I don't get it. Like you're not a jury.
no, they
like-
want you in race mode. I think they want you to go a little bit crazy, where you're getting in your own head.
Because they
a
want you to
little
say
bit.
things that can
Want-
use,
Be good
right?
TV.
But they
Yeah.
also want
Yeah.
you to be focused. So you're
Right.
not, and you can't look up what's going to come ahead because there's like, we didn't realize the fandemonium behind The Amazing Race and how people look into what we're going to be doing before we even get there. Like super fans show up and find out where these,
Wow.
tasks are going to be before we even get there. So that's why we can't have access to the outside world either, is because we can't have an advantage. So that was really hard, was saying goodbye to everyone and thinking like, if we make it all the way, we won't talk to you for 6 weeks.
And then even when you get back, you can't tell them everything that happened. So you reunite, but then there's all these stories that you're keeping inside.
And then you want to keep it though because you know it's going to be so good when they
Yes.
watch it. But then when you watch it, it is crazy because you are filming probably an episode for 2 days. Sometimes you're racing for 2 days or one full day, and that's only an hour on TV. So
Yeah.
you only get like an hour of what we were enduring for 2 days straight.
Yeah, just little snippets here and there. Like tasks took like hours, and it was just cut down to like, minutes, right, for TV. So yeah, it was tough.
What was the most difficult task?
Probably either the first one where I was bungee jumping out of a gondola, but the hardest was probably the bugs in Vietnam. So we had this clue and it said something like, we're going to try some Vietnamese delicacies and we don't know what it's going to be. We don't know anything. They just brought out this like buffet style plate of all these different types of bugs like cockroaches and crickets. And in the middle of the plate was a bat. And I've never eaten a bat before. My dad knows that's one of my biggest fears is bugs. Like I hate bugs.
Yeah.
So I was
actually,
crying.
yeah, it was tough to see her go through that. Like I knew she hated it and she was so scared, but I just kind of had to stay calm. I found it easy, but but yeah, I just just try to stay calm for her and not freak out, not kind of like add to it. So
He knew that I was already going like
Yeah.
going a little nuts, but then like just seeing him calm too. Yeah, I guess that kind of helped me, and then I started eating more, and then and then eating the live dessert, like something that was alive. That it's
I couldn't do it.
all mental.
I
You know
know.
that
Oh, yeah.
race. Like you could be the most fit person in your life, and you can crumble in that race if you're not strong mentally. Yeah.
How'd you end up doing? Now you can tell us. Like you don't have to worry about the non-disclosure thing now.
Yeah, we came in third, and it was pretty badass. Like,
yeah, it was.
we honestly had no idea how that episode was gonna go, the finale, because you never know. You felt like you were in first, and then you'd see people going ahead, and then you just never knew what was gonna happen. And especially with the taxis we were always getting, we were having the worst luck every episode if we ever had to catch a taxi. They were always slow, bring us the wrong way, or
Yeah, or we had mechanical problems, and it wasn't very good.
yeah, we were just like cursed in taxis. But
Yeah.
when we made it to the mat, that's all we wanted was to actually be able to race the whole race. Because if you came in fourth, you never got to participate in the finale, right? So for us to participate and then make it all the way and be like, we just ran across the whole world. And now we made it here. And I remember when we hugged, it was just like, holy crap, like we did that.
Yeah,
Like
we
we
made
did
it.
the damn thing.
And what did you learn about each other through that process of the Amazing Race? What's one thing, like I know you grew up together and everything, but what is something that kind of revealed itself through the show?
I got a lot closer to my dad, and I didn't realize how much his calm nature and how he makes me feel like I can like do anything. When we were in a lot of situations there where I felt like I was really low, he always picked me back up. And then there was times where I had to pick him up. So we really relied on each other, and there was just so many points, highs and lows, but that's something I can't even explain to my mom of like what we went through. It's just like something only me and him can understand. So it was like we went through almost trauma together.
I know. Yeah, it was such a crazy experience. Like we got close. We played a lot of cards.
Oh yeah.
Talked a lot. And
Yeah, because there's lots of off time that isn't shown on camera, and you're not able to be connected with others, and you're not allowed to be on your phone. So how do you spend time?
We played a lot of cards. We
Yeah.
talked
What
a
was the
lot.
game?
Rummy. I got pretty good at it.
Somebody did.
Yeah.
And as difficult as that task was, being away for those 6 weeks, there's probably times now when you don't get a chance to see her very often because she's hobnobbing with Leo, and you probably would kill to go back to that time, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was such a great time. Like I felt like I got so close to her, and going through all that stuff together, it kind of brought us together and kind of kind of just our bond was stronger after that for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely got a lot closer. I think just because everything we went through, and him just supporting me throughout the whole thing and always being positive. Like, he was always positive, even when I was so negative. He was so positive, and that, like, I think you described it in a way one time. You were like, I was the hurricane or something, and you were just like
the eye of the hurricane, and she's a hurricane, and I'm the middle where it's calm,
Yeah.
and she's like all around just
She's a category
wrecking
5.
things. Yeah, yeah.
but he like kept me in check and
Yeah.
directed me, and it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The yin and the yang.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I'm assuming that after that, your phone started to ring a little bit.
Oh my God. It was weird having a phone after that. I mean, like, I remember when I turned it on, I was like, oh my God, I'm connected. And I wanted to like tell so many people what was happening. But honestly, being in that environment and not having a phone, that was the first time I've ever lived and traveled. And I travel a lot, where I was able to just take everything in like that instead of just being like
Yeah.
this and taking pictures. And it was like I had to take mental pictures. Like, so many things that I've seen, I was like, like,
For those of you, for these listening on the audio version, she's blinking her eyes.
I'm
right
blinking
now.
really hard.
She's taking pictures right now. Yeah.
But some job offers, some opportunities. I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I ended up doing a lot of work with Nike too, like being an ambassador and being, I guess, a model for them as well.
Sorry, I just need to interrupt. Nike, we're looking for a podcast sponsor.
Yeah,
carry on.
Nike, come on.
Get him out of his Velcro shoes.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I, like, he needs to get rid of his slip-on. Yeah, so a lot of crazy things happened after that, and I think it's because people saw what we were capable of, and also got to know us on that show, because that show it doesn't hide anything. Like, it shows you in your real vulnerable moments, but it shows like also what you're capable of. And after that, a lot of people reached out for different jobs, different opportunities, and like I said before, I jumped on certain things, and then I thought, how can I make more opportunities from this? What can I learn from this? What kind of connections can I make with people? So it is crazy. If you do one thing, you never know what it can lead to.
And then one day you get a phone call, you pick up the phone, and it's Sports Illustrated. How did that happen?
I remember, so I actually applied
Okay.
myself because I thought, well, why not? I went out and I hired a videographer, did a video because other girls were doing something like that. And I thought, well, why can't I do it? I'm going to go out of my way, make a video, present who I am, what I'm all about, submitted it, and then was just waiting. You know, you never know. And then I got a call saying, hey,
So you were waiting, thinking you were going to get a call, or were you saying, I'll never get a call?
No,
Tell us the truth.
I was hoping. I was praying. I thought maybe they'll reach out to my agent and like have a meeting with me. And that's what happened. And then I'm on a call with them. And then you never know what's going to happen after that. They're like, okay, well, great getting to know you. And I'm like, okay, great.
What
and
does
then
that
it was,
mean?
Exactly. And then you're just waiting. And I'm like, it feels like acting, like waiting for a job that I auditioned for months ago. That's exactly what it felt like. But it was about 5 a.m. I got a phone call and it said New York. And I was thinking, oh, who could it be? And I answered, and it was the Sports Illustrated team. And they said, Ashley, we just love you. They're like, how would you feel about shooting your first ever Sports Illustrated in Dominican Republic next week? And I was just like, holy shit. Like, I was thinking I was dreaming. I had to make sure I was awake. And I'm like, is this for real? I was like, hold on, I'm trying to process this. And I was like crying. I was so happy. And I'm just laying in bed, and they're like, yeah, sorry we woke you up so early because we're on East Coast time. And I was on Pacific time during that time. And I was like, no, it's okay. They're like, you can go back to bed. I was like, I won't be able to now. I was like, I am wide awake, and I just couldn't believe it. And it's because I applied myself and made it happen instead of just waiting for an opportunity, because usually you can wait and see if there's like a casting. But for me, I was like, well, I'm not going to wait. I'm just going to let them know who I am now.
That's really cool. I didn't know you could apply. I guess I think that they probably don't get a lot of applications like you. That's probably a pretty exciting day for Sports Illustrated as well.
I was like, I got to put it all out there, like who I am, what I stand for, and I made it happen. And then when it happened, and when I was on the beach shooting in the Dominican Republic, I thought, I can't believe I'm actually shooting for Sports Illustrated right now with this famous photographer that shot all the big supermodels. I was like, I couldn't believe it. And yeah, I still couldn't believe it. And I remember there was this couple walking on the beach, and they're like, hey, are you Ashley Callingbull? Because they saw the news about me making Sports Illustrated. They're like, are you doing that right now? And then they're like, you can't talk to her about it. And they're like, we're from Saskatchewan. And they were wearing Saskatchewan shirts. And I was like, oh my God, what a small world. But it made me feel like really proud, you know, like people back home. And
You had
just
fans on the beach.
Yeah, it
and,
was
and you're
cool.
laying there, you're like, no, this isn't Sports Illustrated. I'm just laying here in a bikini with a photographer for
no,
nothing.
this is just like a regular Tampax commercial. I'm just kidding. If anyone, like, if I'm ever filming anything and, you know, like for acting or whatever, and people always come around trying to be involved, if you want to get them away, you just say, oh, we're shooting a tampon commercial. Do you want to be in it? And they leave so fast.
And behind the scenes, for nobody else in this room has ever been a Sports Illustrated model.
No.
Behind the scenes, what does that shoot look like? Because it looks beautiful and glamorous and sunny, but is it ever cold, like uncomfortable, or are you just, the whole thing is amazing?
There's sand in places there shouldn't be sand.
Of course.
That's one thing.
You know
but
who didn't need to hear that? Your father.
Yes.
so sorry, Dad. Anyway, honestly, like, I think the weirdest thing is like so many people trying to watch and like come around, and they'll actually set up barriers and like these walls so no one can see or take photos. It's like super secretive. But there's sometimes where I got rocked by some waves pretty hard, and you're trying to be like attractive and you're getting like rocked and almost drowning, but trying to be like sexy. And in my mind, I'm like, I hope that looks okay, because I almost died.
Well, the elephant in the room is Dad. You know, when this is happening, like this, you know, you're little Ashley, right? This your little sweetheart, and here we are, and she's, like you say, she's putting it all out there, like she said.
I know. I still haven't seen any pictures.
He's like
No, I have
avoiding
not seen
everything.
pictures, but I'm very proud of her for what she's done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
And you became the first First Nations woman to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. What does that representation mean to you?
It meant a lot. At first, I was thinking, like, why did it take so long to have an Indigenous woman there? But it made me feel proud, like, thinking, like, okay, I kicked that door wide open. There's
And
gonna be
you
and I-
advocated for yourself.
Yeah, I didn't wait for the opportunity. I thought I got to go out there and make it happen. But I hope that encourages other women to, you know, chase their dreams and like try to make it happen instead of waiting for an opportunity. Sometimes you got to make that opportunity come for yourself and got to create it for yourself. You got to let everyone know who you are, make your presence known, make your mark. And I made my mark, and it's been really crazy since.
Even prior to that, you had an incredible social media following, but since then, even more, over 2 million people. Do you ever think about that? Do you ever think about the fact that 2 million people are watching what you're doing, and for better or worse?
Yeah, sometimes when I'm posting, and then say I'll post on my story and see how many people watched, and I'm just like, oh my God, like I posted a picture of like my dog or like just random things. And sometimes I'm very private. I'll post just on my close friends of like what I'm really doing and whatnot.
We're not close friends, Bailey, I don't think, but
I never rarely
Speak for yourself.
post.
Speak for yourself.
but it's like, it's interesting. And then I get like, you know, how many messages a day or like pictures of like my face being tattooed on people's bodies. Like that's
Wow.
just like, that is where I'm like, holy cow, like people take it to a whole nother level.
Has anyone ever shown you a tattoo of your face in person? Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
and scary or not scary?
They're really good. As long as they look really good,
But
you know?
but what do you think of the person that does that?
I mean, if they're using as like inspiration, if it's like a super scary fan, that kind of freaks me out a little bit. Like I've had one fan that got my whole face on his back, and my face looked really big, so I wasn't really a fan of it.
He had a big back.
But yeah, it was a big back. But you know, there's a lot of people that get it in like a way where they want it as like a strong like Indigenous representation.
Sure.
They relate me to that. So that I'm like, okay, wow, that's really cool. And then I'm amazed with what they can do and how they incorporate it with like their culture or something that represents them. So when people use it that way, I'm like, that's pretty badass. Like, you know, like to get a tattoo of someone and, you know, it means a lot to you. So that's pretty cool. But still to this day, when I see one, I'm like, holy cow, like that's next level. That's next level, man. I'm like, but who am I to talk? I jump out of planes now, you know? So like, I've done crazy stuff too.
Yeah, but 2.2 million followers on Instagram, that's twice Edmonton's size, right? Like that's just, you never saw that coming for this little girl, did you?
Not one bit. Wow.
I mean, you
2
believed in
million?
her, obviously, but yeah. Oh, you didn't know that? No.
Not that much. Yeah, I don't have Instagram.
Yeah, my
so-
dad doesn't have Instagram.
Because he doesn't
So-
want to accidentally see your pictures.
Yeah, he
Bathing
probably
suit pictures.
doesn't want to come across those.
No, I stay connected through
What,
her mom.
LinkedIn and my mom.
Her mom. Yeah, I get the news from there. So,
Yeah.
and that's how we find out where Ashley is all the time.
You,
through that,
yeah,
a lot of times
you
afterwards,
spend
right?
your life in airports,
Yeah.
right?
And it's so funny because like a lot of the airports, people that work there recognize me now, and they're like, "Oh, hey Ash," or "Hey, where are you going now?" Or, you know, it's just, or people recognize me on the flights, like the flight attendants and stuff. They're like, "Oh, hey Ash."
You're on the plane again.
Yeah.
You just got off this one.
I know, and then they're like, "Weren't you just here?"
Yeah.
They're like, "Weren't you just?" That happens a lot, and I'm like, I know, I'm always in an airport. Might actually be going to the airport tomorrow. I just haven't decided yet. So I'm like,
Of course, we haven't heard about that yet.
Do you have a favorite airport?
Oh my God. I think it was when we were doing the Amazing Race, and I think it was Taipei. And that airport was so cool and like so advanced. I've never seen anything like that. That was probably one of my favorite airports. But also any airports that are outside in the tropics, like that.
When
it
they're just kind of a little hut.
yeah, and you just land and you're like, oh my God, I'm here. You know, that was really cool. But I've experienced a lot of different airports, even small, like little mini airports that are in the middle of nowhere, little tiny little bush planes. But yeah, probably because it was with my dad and we were on the race and we didn't even have money and there was stuff I wanted to buy. I was just like, I wish I got to come back to this airport.
Like I'm taking pictures with my
Yeah,
eyes and
like-
I can't buy anything.
I'm just taking so many pictures. I'm like, oh my God, this place is amazing.
And when you do come home and you see people in your community that you grew up with, or maybe you said you were a bit of a loner or not as cool in high school, do you ever run into those people and you're like, oh yeah, I'm on Sports Illustrated now and I'm in an airport every day. What is it like to be home?
Well, I've run into people all the time from home when I come back, and they're always really like supportive and really nice and kind to me. And they always say like, "Oh, so good to see you," or like even elders from the community. They're like, "Oh, hope you're being safe. You're always everywhere." And they always, but everyone always knows what I'm up to. That's what's really
Except your
nice.
father.
Yeah, I'm like they see what
know.
he sees online. Okay, what my mom shares. That's what the world gets. I'm moving too fast that like I
She's
can't keep
moving too
everyone.
fast. Yeah, exactly. Just gotta try to keep up. you
Yeah,
know?
but everyone's like really supportive, and then some people like that I went to high school with are like, "Oh my God, like it's so crazy." If I ever run into them in Edmonton, they're like, "It is so crazy. Like we would have never expected this from who you were in high school."
You weren't voted most likely to be a Sports Illustrated model when you graduated at 16.
Not a chance. Like I don't even. Ugh.
What
He
a-
remembers what I look like.
What an inspiration, though, and you know, whether it's the community across the road in Enoch or just or any of us. I mean, just Canadians.
Yeah.
I mean, the things that you've managed to accomplish internationally are it's staggering, right? So it's and again, you can. I told you, I said that first 30 seconds when I met her, I'm like, okay, this isn't at all what I expected in a positive way, because I don't know what I expected, but I didn't expect this. Right, so it's amazing. You're inspirational. You're speaking. You're acting. You're taking these pictures that your dad never sees, and all these different things. And just I can tell you, don't forget about us. But as soon as I text you, you're like, yeah, I'm coming. I'm doing this.
Yeah, I drove in a blizzard to get here tonight.
And we lit for 5 minutes.
for a whole 5 minutes.
For 5 minutes
Chris.
seemed like forever.
Yeah.
And we have no idea where this podcast is going, but I don't know if we're ever going to get anybody as significant in the world as you on this podcast. So
Yeah,
we
it's
just,
an honor to
we
have
just-
you here, and it's an honor to
Oh,
have
thank
you
you.
here.
honestly, this
Yes.
could not have worked out better. The beauties and the beasts,
Yeah.
right?
The beast, yes.
He's like,
Yeah.
I am the beast. Oh, we got to watch that show later too tonight.
Have you seen
The
Wicked?
Beast.
Have you seen
Games.
Wicked yet?
No.
Oh, it's wicked.
Oh,
It's good.
Beast Games. I've heard of
Yeah,
that.
Beast
Yeah.
Games. So my parents, whenever I'm there, they get me into these like weird shows that they're watching, and then I get mad because like that last episode it ended, and he was like, "Oh, it doesn't come out till next week." I was like, "Why would you guys get me into this?"
You're like, I'm not going to be here next
Yeah.
week. I might be
So
jumping out of a plane.
now that I'm here, I'm like, we have to watch it tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to find time.
and
Yeah.
Ashley, you might not know the answer to this, but if you do, what is next for you? You've accomplished so much. What is a goal that you have?
Wow.
Now that this has happened.
Now that you've
that
sat in
my
this basement.
ultimate goal has happened and I sat in the storage room, I could probably make my next album here. With
Rihanna.
With Rihanna. Goals. Dream big. Make it happen. You never know. No, I'm really excited for my book to come out this year. I never thought I'd be an author, and I never thought that I would sign a book deal with like HarperCollins. Like they're gonna put me on a whole like book tour where I'm gonna travel around and have kind of like my Carrie Bradshaw moment, you know, where
Wow.
like I never would have imagined anything like that, and being able to share my story and what I've accomplished, especially like at the age I'm at now. So that's what I'm really excited about. And this year, like I already have bookings all the way until the end of the year of different events and different things that I'm doing, but I always want to try something new. So that's why I never know where I'm going to end up, because I'm always trying something new. And I think stepping out of my comfort zone, what I learned from the race anyways, is it's really important to step out of your comfort zone, because that's where you learn growth and where you learn what you're capable of, and finding out that you don't really have any limits. It's just like all mental. So for me, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know I'm going to be an author, and I know a lot of people already have reached out trying to make this into a series or a movie, like my life. So I'm like, that's crazy. And then some of the people in the acting world that I work with were laughing and saying, you know, you're still young enough to play yourself.
Yes. I was
I'm
just
like,
thinking the same
That's
thing.
kind of messed up. And I'm like, but yeah, it's crazy to think that like my life can be on screen soon. So who knows where I'll end up. But goals wise, you know, with that book, I'm hoping that it will lead to more opportunities. But I eventually want to create my own foundation and, you know, help women who are escaping domestic violence and abuse, like what me and my mom went through. So I want to be able to give back and do more with, you know, what is thrown at me. So I feel like with my dad by my side, I could probably accomplish anything.
Who's
Keeps
gonna
me calm.
Who's gonna play your dad in the movie?
John C. Reilly.
Now that we remembered him. Now that we remembered him.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was
There we
coming.
go. Around.
And one more thing you need to do before you wrap up your career: a tampon commercial.
Yeah, I need one tampon commercial. Like, for real. I've been doing tampon commercials for years, and I've never actually done one. So, Tampax, Kotex, whoever, hit me up.
Ashley Callingbull and John Ground. Don't forget
John C. Reilly.
Joel Ground.
Joel Ground.
You said John because of John C. Reilly.
Or Ashley's dad.
Or Ashley's dad. Don't forget to like this thing, follow it. What do they need to do? Because our executive producer said we didn't say
Yeah,
it.
we're not good at the plug.
Yeah, don't plug it.
Download, subscribe,
Yeah,
watch,
yes. Subscribe.
follow Ashley.
Follow,
Half the world already
share,
Yeah, you already
like,
follow Ashley.
does. Yeah, so follow us.
repost.
Yes,
Get a
do-
tattoo.
The first Talking Scheetz tattoo. We need to see it.
There you go.
This has been great, as I knew it would. Safe drive home, guys.
Thank you.
Even when we got nothing to talk about, there's nowhere I'd rather be. 'Cause there's something about you and me just sitting around talking sheets.